What's up, Metal Summoners? As always, it is so great to see you guys. Thank you for supporting live music, coming out and supporting the show, supporting our guests, buying merch, buying new music, and everything in between. As always, this is your Island of Misfit Toys. It's myself, it's Angel, and we're bringing back our multi-time TMS alumni this evening. We're really stoked to talk to one of our buddies about everything going on with him when it comes to his music, what he's got going on currently, and probably a little conversation about what you guys might not know about some stuff behind the scenes. It's going to be great conversation. We're going to jump right into it. Our good friend Vick LeCar is live with us right now. Vick, as always, my friend, welcome back. Great to see you. Welcome to the Metal Summit.
Well, it's great to see you as well, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And I feel like at home. I'm at home with you guys.
Absolutely, man. You know, we've always got a room for you, man. You're always welcome on the show, man, for sure. And it's been a moment since we've had you on, but so tell us about what's going on currently with new music from you.
Well, I have I just released a new single called Witch's Brew, which is doing very well, by the way. And thank you people for streaming and buying it and so on. It's been very fruitful, I guess the word could be. That I have another one coming up fairly soon, within at least 3 weeks from now, which is the same lineup, the same lineup, and the guys did a great job on this one. They're all very well-known musicians in the industry, and very popular. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but if you read about it. But on the drums, I have Russell Gilbert from Uriah Heep, and he did an excellent job. On the bass, I have Tony Franklin from the Firm and Blue Matter. On the keyboards, I have Paul Morris from Rainbow and Imbe. And then I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. Oh, me. And that's just, I write the songs and I play guitar on it and produce it and I did everything. OCD recordings here in New Orleans, they're mixing it. They have mixed it and mastered the first one. They also did a great job. Great group of people, and basically I'm just like turning and burning and just trying to get things out. I had a big setback last year. I don't know if you guys know about it, but I had some issues, some health issues. Just about this time last year, I had a triple bypass, and it was not a joke. But we are now within 3 months. I was ready to rock. So I just I picked up lighter guitars. I used other guitars except for my Les Paul that is a little bit heavy, But I did gigs and all that. At the time, I was signed with Golden Management out of Finland. Which I really appreciate because they start out all this recordings and all this, getting people together for all this. We had I'm not signing back with them, so I'm on my own doing it myself now. But they, Tula Halen from Golden Management in Finland, who helped me start this whole recording there, So big shout out to them and thank you. But now I'm on my own. I'm doing everything myself. Even the marketing and the promoting and all that. So sometimes it can get a little hectic, It's a lot of work, and it's but I don't mind doing it. And I love every little bit of it. It's like it's like being your boss and then being your worker as well. And thank God I'm legal too, because I would have kicked myself out of the country already.
No,
Anyway,
absolutely, my friend, for sure. When you have a health situation like that of a pretty serious magnitude, like what you had to go through, does that change your perspective when it comes to songwriting? I mean, of course, your health and staying on this planet with us is of the utmost importance because we wouldn't trade you for anything. But when it does come to getting back into the music, getting back into what you love, when you have a situation of that magnitude, did it change the way you do lyrics or the way you think about your writing?
I think it changes different in different perspective. I think it changes more like I have always been pretty much a do or die kind of person, you know, and but this it's like accelerates that analogy or that state of mind, you know. So it's just like nothing else matter about what you want to do at this point. And then you realize how short and how at any minute you could be gone, and you haven't done anything at all. It's like that's one of, I guess, most men fear the most. You know, some of us fear the most, like just kick the bucket and have done absolutely nothing, leaving nothing behind. And I don't mean it in a way like, you know, oh, I want everybody to know my name and this and the other thing, but more on a constructive way, like an architect would love to have houses built or buildings, you know, somebody that sculpt things would like to have X amount of sculptures, you know, and as a musician, I would like to have X amount of music out. And you know, like everybody else, everybody wants to make an indentation. Everybody wants to make noise that to be heard, not just like, you know, it's like it's weird because I write and play for me. An artist is a very selfish trait. You know what I mean? It's a very selfish. It's very to yourself. Because we play what we love, the music that we love. We write what we love. I mean, speaking for myself. But then when people attaches to themselves to that and they love what you do, it's like it's a big achievement. You know, it's like um, I had an interview not too long ago, and I was asked uh, about writing, as you did, and my answer is like, if you don't write, I write. One of the biggest compliments, and this is what I was trying to get, that I just got is from somebody that comes to my Facebook and votes for me and does everything, and they send me a message saying like, thank you for making the music that we love, because there is no, like, the reason why I play and write what I do is because there's nothing out there that I can go and buy a record like in the old times, you know, buy a CD or a cassette. So I literally just like to play, record, and release what I like to hear, you know, and according to geographically time and place, I guess, there's a lot of people that relate to it, you know, younger and older people. So I'm very happy about it and very thrilled that it, you know, the way things are turning out. A lot more when you do it by yourself and with yourself, you know. I'm sorry about the dog, but somebody must be upstairs. Um, but so that's, you know, that's basically the writing part of it. It's great to be able to create, but it's even better if more people relate to what you write and what you do, you know. And
Absolutely. No, 100% Vic, for sure. Angel, let me bring you in on this, man, because for anybody who's not familiar with, but a lot of people who are familiar and fans of the show are aware that Angel, you deal with a situation that kind of affects you, you know, on and off in your daily life and whatnot. And when you yourself have, you know, to take a moment or recollect or take a little bit of time to wind down, I know that you turn to music in so many different ways to kind of like help balance yourself out when you're, you know, dealing with a situation like that. So if it's not too much to put you on the spot for a second, my friend, I just feel there's some value in bringing you into this particular segment.
Well, I deal with Crohn's disease, so I deal with fatigue a lot, and as which we know, when we had the festival a couple weeks ago, I could not make it.
Yeah.
Long story short, what happened was I was not taking the best care of myself. I was not drinking water, um, eating the right foods. Just had a lazy moment. And what ended up happening was I ended up becoming hydrated and fatigued, where I was could not move a muscle in my car. I was in my car for like a few hours, just trying to find the energy to get home, basically.
Yeah.
So once I got home, I knew I was not going to be able to make it, and which I hated it because I missed 2 events. I missed the event Saturday in Baltimore, and I missed another event that I was supposed to be hosting in Wilkes-Barre, PA. So they're going to have me back next year, thank goodness, but they understood that. And it's something you just deal with every day as best as you can. And hey, music is a big part of it. You know, that's what I live for.
Yeah, man.
One thing was my biggest fear was driving from Los Angeles to Fresno by myself because it was a 4-hour drive. Luckily, DK's brother gave me the encouragement to do it. I don't know, I forgot what he said, but I was like, fuck it. I'll drive the 4 hours. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, at least I can say that I fucking went for it. So,
Absolutely.
You did it, yeah.
And,
It's a big deal, man. I hope you get better and that treat yourself well. It's something that you have to take care of better than a baby sometimes in situations
yeah.
like that. Um, it's rough, it's rugged, but we're men. We have a good set, so we got to keep them going, basically.
oh yeah, absolutely. And Angel, you gifted yourself a new piece of merch too, because you know how much we love our merch.
Yes, I do.
Absolutely, for sure. So, Vic, you were talking about Witch's Brew, and I wanted to focus a little bit on that because, like myself, from my history being from Salem, Massachusetts, witches are always a big part of the area and stuff like that. When I was growing up, with the history of the witch trials, but when it comes to like how you design a song like that, I really loved in particular your design of your guitar work in that particular song. But what was it about the title that also spoke to you where you were like, I want to write a song of this style titled this way?
Well, it really doesn't work that way for me. It's more like it's. I know it sounds crazy, but it just comes to me. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Sure.
just all of a sudden, like and what's funny and it's really cool that I wrote all these songs that are coming out. I wrote them all like within a week. Like because I write constantly. I haven't since after the surgery. I kind of slowed down a little bit on certain things. And by the way, talk about cancellation. I had to cancel a whole thing in Europe, and I'm still not getting it back yet. And Finland was I had a big shows and things that they were ready. I had to cancel, but anyway, hopefully I'm able to do them at one point this year. But the song was it just came and it felt that way. Like the whole groove of it. You know, and then the to do things in life, you got to have this desire, this burning desire, right? That some people talk about, and I do have that. And then you feel that, like sometimes your wings are kind of the desire. It's a desire. Your wings are like when you talk about your wings, you're talking about that you want to take off, you want to do something. And then sometimes if your wings start to get burned, but at the same time, they could be wings of fire. So your wings are burning higher and higher, as with your desire, what you wanted to do, until you get to the point. And actually, I had designed a video for the first song where there's a witch with the and everybody's like inside the cauldron, right? And at one point towards the end, the cauldron explode and these wings come out like an angel and it kind of freed itself. So it's like everything is like it's just creativity that comes to me, and then I just put it down on lyrics. And all those lyrics on all these songs that just came all like all at once. Like sometimes I write a verse and or a chorus, usually the chorus, and then I write a verse to it, and then I can't think of anything else on the second verse. So I leave them there, and I have a whole bunch of songs like that, lots of them. But with this bunch and a lot of them, of other songs, they do come out like immediately. It's just like it's like I can tell you like riding the bike. I guess it's like riding the bike, but like just writing, a letter or an email to someone. You know exactly what you're gonna say without knowing if there's such a thing. If that's some kind of metaphor there. Without knowing what's coming, so you just write it down, and that's how Witch's Brew came all about. just
Oh,
imagination, you know. I just imagine this cold and empty garden, you know, and then I imagine this woman like luring you in. It just, and then I just described it with the song, you know.
absolutely, man, for sure. And I got one more thing for you about Witch's Brew in this segment with me, and then Angel. Why don't you go ahead and pick it up right after this? I wanted to ask you about like the artwork that you did for it because I mean I love it. I love the green kind of potion bottle with like the smoke skull that's kind of coming out of the top with the candles and the girl, the witch in the background. What how did the artwork come about?
It was actually quite not funny, but this just to show you how things are meant to happen. I do like that cover a lot as well. Um, I Some guy was supposed to be doing that. At last minute, he tells me, "Man, I can't do this because he had the picture of all the guys in the band and all that kind of stuff. The other guys that recorded it. And then I'm like, you know, you need to send this in certain time to be released after X amount of days or weeks, right? And I am ready with the song, with everything is ready except for the artwork. So I said to myself, let me get to work. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm an artist as well. I do paintings, sculptures, and all that kind of stuff. Um, but so I just started messing, you know, with Photoshop, and then I go like, well, the witch is supposed to look like this, that. So I kind of did a composite of everything, you know. The she will lure you in with the wave of her hand and like higher and higher. Everything leads to the cover of the album, you know, of the single. So the potion that is obviously a witch's brew inside the bottle, you know. So that's simple, and I love all that medievalish type of thing. I love castles, and you know, we have spoken to that, you and I, in the past about it. You know, all the mysterious type of stuff, like you know, vampirish maybe, but that's how the cover came all about. You know, so it's everything came from like in here, like so it's imagination and creating stuff, and that was done very quick actually. You know,
Yeah.
so and I love candles. You know, all that whole thing. So I went through a few different setups. You know, like I thought that one was the best one for me.
Very cool, man. Right on,
So
dude.
I,
Absolutely.
I'm glad you like it. I'm
I
very
love
glad
it.
that you.
I think it's so cool. And Angel, real quick, just one more little thing. What was it about the female witch kind of design in the background where you went for a little bit as opposed to like this beauty look, as opposed to what maybe the average person would expect a witch to look like?
Well, I don't think a witch should be ugly or are ugly. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, of
It's
course.
it's not a reality. You know, so I think that that looks like a witch to me, but it's a cool witch. I mean,
No, it totally
and
is. No, it's
I'm
all good. I was just kind of casually curious on it because, of course, witches they've got different looks, different styles.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a witch. Anything from, of course, where you've got like movies like The Craft. Where all of those witches, of course, are more in the beautiful side and stuff like that. There's a very popular like local witch in Salem by the name of Bora, who's that very traditional like long nose, green skin kind of design. So I was just
yeah.
kind of curious about the design and the thought process between that particular visual. Not because they had to be ugly or had to be this. Just casually curious, my friend.
That's cool, completely cool. But I think they say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I don't think so. And I mean that with great respect to the people who think like that. But
Oh,
I
sure.
think beauty is beauty. Beauty is a measurement of fissures and things. You know what I mean? It's like the witch that you describing with the big nose and all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
not beauty. But one that has a balanced face is beauty. You know. So,
Yeah.
but it's just creating things. Like you know, basically, creative
Ab-
mind create things, music and art and all that all together.
100%, my friend. Absolutely. Speaking of my other friend, Angel, it's all you, my guy.
Ed, just want to say congrats on the on the new song. But getting back to the album cover, look, not all witches are ugly, so I'm glad that. I mean, it's an album cover; it just draws you in.
Yeah, my mother's a witch, and she's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
She'll love that. She's gonna love that one.
So
Anyway,
I'm glad you did not go for the typical green skin, big nose. No, that's not realistic. You got witches out there that look sexy as fuck, and God bless them.
Cheers.
cheers. I don't have wine with me today because I'm drinking water. Um, Actually, I'm doing I walk about 8 miles every day,
That's all right.
so
Look,
you got exercise, you know.
I want a Coke. Who the fuck am I kidding?
What kind of coke? Well, don't do that stuff from camera,
No.
man. You know.
Until I'm in the ER screaming my lungs out, I got a kidney stone. Yeah,
Ouch! I had them too, man. Kidney stones,
yeah,
they hurt like a mother.
yes.
That's
Stuff.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But go
scream
ahead.
like that I'm going to give
You
up soda, and as soon as I leave the hospital, I grab a soda
yeah.
because
I
I
don't.
never.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My question to you is about the song. It's actually different from your EP. That's what I love about it. That the song is just very different. It doesn't. It's something pretty new. And just curious to ask, did the events that happened with your health last year inspire that for you to kind of do something different musically?
No, actually, that song was written before
Oh,
the surgery. So it was a whole one thing after the other. I had the sign. I was signed with management. So I was going to Finland, and I was doing all this, and then all of a sudden I had I couldn't breathe, and then I went and I took a test, and I failed the test, and guess what? You have more of a chance to be here another 5 months if you do this. And I go like, when do we do it? So it was like it was all the songs were written prior to that. I have written a whole bunch of the songs after that, but I actually, yeah, no, everything was written before that, which is Brew, and all the songs that are coming out this year, very soon.
so at what point? I mean, you added what sounds like an organ. It's,
Oh yeah, keyboards.
yeah.
Well,
Um. Now,
go
I was going
ahead.
to say people will write a song and add that later. So my question is, was the keyboard added after the song was done, or that's something you just thought out during the process?
Well, I was talking to Paul Mancy, the singer, and he goes like, "Are you going to put keyboards in?" I go like, I really wanted to. I mean, the other song, the last EP had keyboard in it. I don't know if you remember. It has B3, just but um, there is certain players that they will kind of like complement certain songs, and I thought about immediately about Paul Morris, which is an outstanding keyboardist, and I knew that he had that the feel for that one song. So I called him up, we talked about it, and bingo. So the keyboards they were added afterwards, and he only did a couple of takes or so, and bingo, which is like meant to be, like you know, it was not too. I didn't have to think a lot or tell him a lot of things, you know. So basically, the keyboard came right after the song was done. I had it planned out, but this is style that certain people play with that you have to combine with what you do to make it work. And I think it worked pretty good. I think achieved we achieved what I was going after overall. I can tell you that I'm never happy with anything musically or artistically. I can tell you that I'm 100% happy with it, but I'm pretty content with it. It works and it's working, and that's basically what it is. I'm getting my point across with it. You know.
I forgot my next question, but it was about the song. Um, Damn it! Oh, actually, come to me. Oh, Lisa wants to know, where are you from?
Where am I from? Well, that's from Mars, I think. I am originally I was born in Chile, Santiago, Chile. I was born there, and I lived most of my life in the New Jersey area, tri-state area, and then I lived in Texas for a while, and now I live in New Orleans. And yes, I'm an American citizen, a proud American citizen, that is.
Yeah.
So I have double citizenship, but I don't. I only use one, which is my American citizenship. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not attached to any nationality for the reason that you were born in the place. I have like this saying. Um, I didn't have an argument, a conversation with someone not too long ago, and they're, oh, I'm proud of being this, I'm proud of being that, and like I can't be proud of being any from any race, any color, or any nationality because I really had no choice on where I was born or how I was born. You know what I mean? So, but
Right.
I'm proud. I'm proud about accomplishment. I'm proud about being a good person. I'm proud about being, a good overall, a conscientious person about thinking about other people as well. There's a lot of other things that you could be proud, except for your nationality or race. I'm a mixture of Europeans, my ancestry, and they take a lot of pride in that. I don't. I don't take pride on once again, race or nationality. I just think we're the human race, and we just have different, like almost almost like dogs, different breeds of dogs. That's how I see people, and that's cool. We can all get along somehow, some way. We never will, but that's uh, that's a whole different show. We're gonna need a lot more time for that one, you know. But
No,
yeah, that so
I'm with
that's
you. So
I hope that answered your question. That's where I'm from. That's a long answer.
that's all right. Yes, another question. How
Right.
does your personal experiences influence your lyrics?
Personal
That's
experience as who I am. Absolutely. Like everything comes from different viewpoints. It's not the same as if you're on your natal land where you were born, you're going to write about what's around you, and then I can write sometimes about things. A lot of things are a metaphor in my songs, but I can write about the trip here. That I can write about here, how I was received here, which by the way was not. There was no culture shock because it was basically the same thing. All the kids that I hang out with in North Bergen, New Jersey, they were into the same kind of music, but the only difference was that I didn't speak English at all. So I learned it really quick. It took me, I think, about 5 months, but within a couple of weeks, I was already going to a store and doing my own thing. And but yeah, but that was the only difference. Language was the only difference. Nothing else. Uh, music was the same. Everybody did the same stupid things, there and here. We were all into the rock music, and so it was like it was the right fit for me. It was not I didn't miss a beat on that part, and
uh,
that's about it.
to your music. Do you ever, or I guess my question is rephrase it. In your music vault, do you have alternate versions with alternate lyrics of some of the songs you've done?
Not really. Basically how once I do a song, it's when it's done, and I just move on with it. But there's always like the writing period where you can change this to that, or this word to this other word, or like maybe the meaning of it. It's like it doesn't feel like what I was writing about in the beginning. It feels like something else right now. So you just change the meaning. But to have a song that I have recorded and have another lyrics, different lyrics, or different meanings. No, basically they all stand as they are right now, and a lot of them are for people themselves to do to figure what you know to metaphor themselves into something. You know, I don't know if you guys remember a song that I have called "Never Stranded." I have so many people contact me and send me messages about it. Oh, that's the story of my life and this and that thing, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, that's great. That's what it's all about. You have to make a song your own the soundtrack of your certain part of your life. And for someone like me that writes so much, and I've been through a few things, so I got plenty to write and keep writing more and more. Um, yeah, so but basically, it's like for you guys, like when you listen to a song and you can tell, like, wow, I feel this part of it. I feel this lyrical. Oh, I don't. Oh, it's just pretty cool. Oh, so he went to a. Never done this literally a mini biography of my life. But and I have another song coming up, but I will can talk about that after you get done with the Witch's Brew. So, you guys have any more question about the witch?
I got another fan question. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Thanks for watching. How did you hook up with the musicians that you're working with now?
Well, that was they were like featuring musicians. We don't have a band, but the way I hooked up with them was to management in Finland. We were talking, and the lady asked me to say, "What musicians would you like?" Something. So I go. They send me a drummer from a band called Mountain. And a bit of older gentleman than I am, of my generation. He was really really good. I forget his name, but there was something missing. There was something that it was like, it's cool. I loved his playing. Then they sent me this other guy, which is Russell Gilbert, and he's playing Walking in Germany, the festival with Uriah Heep. And I see this guy like he's just really digging into it, man. He's going wild and all this stuff. I go like, that's the kind of trauma that I want, you know. So GMF, they knew him. They contacted him. I go, all right. So then I went to see him. I saw him in another video. He's doing this thing for Cozy Powell in England, and the singer, he's singing I forgot what song he was singing. We were singing Rainbow Song. And then I go like, this singer is pretty cool. He's got he's got the rasp, he's got the tone, he's got that manly voice that I like in my songs. And then I go, can we contact him? And actually, no, I contacted him through Facebook, and he goes, yeah, man. He goes, yeah, I could definitely see myself singing on that on your material. And that was it. Then with bass player, we tried out a couple more guys, and then I go like, well, let me see if we contact Tony Franklin. He gave me a compliment on the songwriting, and it was a pretty big compliment because he goes, man, this is like it's based on songwriting, like the Beatles. I'm like, dude, that's a whole different dimension. And then I thank you. And then he changed it. He goes like, oh yeah, like David Bowie's. Well, that's another dimension too. So it was pretty cool compliment that he shout out. So that's not the reason why we used them. We used him because he's an outstanding player, and I wanted that heavy but smooth uh, um, bass in the back, but heavy, and he definitely accomplishes that. My first instrument was cello as a kid, so I still have some of that in my head engraved, like that that no frets kind of smooth and heavy in my head. So I pictured that, and that's how it came up. And then Paul Morris, I go, we need keywords. Let me call him up. I call him up. Hey man, I got this, that, and the other thing. He goes, all right. He goes like, send me the track. I sent him the track. Within 2 days, I think it was. I have all these tracks back. I go like, man, you definitely got it. So that's how simple it was gathering the all the artists for this band for these recordings. And I think that you're gonna like some of the other one coming up as well. Different. Every song is different. You know, which leads me to actually to answer one of your questions, Angel. Angel, that the reason why a lot of it just got a lot of changes, like more like it's more metal than what I usually do. Probably that's what you wanted to say, but didn't. It's because I am all that as well. I did a lot of metal through the years, and it's a little progressive. I did progressive music. It's not really me, but I just felt that one time in that song, in that time and place. So I wrote it and recorded it. But as simple as that, it's like sometimes like you feel like I'm not gonna go and write and record a reggae song unless I get hired by somebody, you know. But but sometimes creativity just takes you in different directions, and that's why really suggest to younger musicians to be as skilled as possible on their instruments, because then you can turn around and deliver what's in your head at ease with your instrument. As you know, not just that one thing, the more chord and the whole thing. You know, the knowledge of chords, progressions, beats, and different things, and different music that you listen to. It's only ammunition in, in your favor. And you never know when you're going to use it. You never know when I did a lot of studio work a while back, and actually I'm still doing some like online. Um, and sometimes they send you stuff, and this dude sent me this track to play, and it's a complete progressive thing. It's like, and I go like, man, this is so cool, and I don't feel out of place at all. I just walked in and played, and he freaked out. He goes, oh man, because I sent him about four different takes on the solo. So I did one because he goes like, yeah, do what you do, that the bluesy soloing thing. I'm like, all right, I'm not just that. So I went in and I did about four, and then he flipped, he freaked out. He goes like, oh my god, dude. He's like, so I did a whole some little bit of shredding here and there, but actually I got that from Jolene Turner a long time ago. He told me, he goes like, man, he goes, stop playing so square, man. He goes like, you much more than that. Play more rounded. Play more like, And that's when I kind of went back to the blues rock type of thing, And I think it was a good suggestion, and it kind of worked for me as an artist. It just helped me develop and to mix everything together, to mix the metal with the bluesier rock, you know, which is, you know, rock comes from the blues, so it's a pretty cool way of delivering. And I like heavy. I like heavy music. I don't know if you guys figured that out by the
Weekend
heaviness of it.
EP. That EP is still fucking heavy. You can definitely hear the blues, but you can hear a lot of that heavy stuff.
So heavy.
So that definitely shows in that EP that you put out.
Yeah. Well, I have two EPs. One is called Gallows Rex, and then is the other one is Put Your Hands Up.
Yeah, put
And
your
then
hand.
yeah, they both have like the whole thing is heavy and bluesy at the same time. And actually, for some reason, since the Witches Brews out, I've been getting a lot more hits than that on Spotify on those other songs as well. You know, which is it's cool. It works for
Uh,
me.
I'm gonna do a roundtable discussion on this question, which is a good question. What do you think has changed the most in the music industry since you started?
Oh gosh, this is a tough question, and it's an ugly answer.
I don't think you
One
want
of
my. I don't think you want my opinion.
Well, but no, I would like to hear your opinion. A lot of it I have changed, and one of the things that have changed in my mind is the experience that I have and realized that that the music industry, and I can't stand when they start calling it the industry. It's money buying more money. Like your talent doesn't really mean much. It's like money. It's literally people putting money to buy more money. If that makes any sense. Um, I try to explain it. When you see an artist come in and sits in with another artist, major. I'm talking about big artists, major artists. They're not coming out because the big artist is saying like, "Oh, this guy's really good, bring him in," and all this stuff. They're bringing him in because they're getting paid, you know. And that's all management works all that. And I think it's the ugly side of music, but it's just true. I have seen it firsthand, you know. And I personally, I don't think it's a good thing to do. That's why we get so many shitty ass freaking music at times. There's nothing to listen to it. So to answer your question, a lot have changed. I have changed the quality of musicians. And now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good technical players. Technicality has taken over artistry. There's no art anymore. There's a lot of technique. Like anybody can tune into YouTube, and you're gonna see like you're gonna have lessons for this, lessons for that. So, which is pretty cool. but most people are concentrating on the technique of music, on the technical part of it, and that's good. But mainly, you develop a technique to create with it. You can't just like I'm going to listen to. I don't listen. I try not to listen to a lot of guitar players, but it's because it bores me. It's just like the same scales, the same licks that the guy that I just listened to play, and the other 500, and so on and so on and so on. Like, so like what So it's not they're not creating music. They're practicing what they learn on songs, and it's cool. I mean, look, I suggest and I endorse everyone to play an instrument. It's one of the most beautiful things in the world, the best ever. But I think that's had like someone like that with some heavy background money, they can they take over the media and so on and so on because as I said, it's money buying money. And then you get the artist that's truly a struggling artist that can't get through because there's so much of it out there. It's unreal. But in my case, this is what I do, this is what I am, and this is what I'm going to do, and that's that. As I said before, do or die situation. But yeah, the music industry have changed a lot. Like I I seen a dude over here. I went to his Spotify. He said, "Oh, I have like close to 1 million hits on my Spotify." And this and the other thing. Go, "Oh wow, man, you're doing really well." I go, yeah. So he goes, "I'm playing such a place. I'll go see me." I go, and I did. I like to help musicians. So I show up to gigs and all that kind of stuff. I show up to a gig, and he has one 7-year-old girl on the floor dancing. The place was empty. Some parents brought in the kid to the place, and the place was completely empty. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? That the amounts of hits that he had on the Spotify, they weren't uh, generated by people listening to your music. They're generated by computers, and that it's a sad situation, but there's not much that we could do. People get happy about stupid things. I get happy. Actually, I don't get happy. I keep calm and cool through the whole thing. Whenever it's like whenever I'm excited on the inside, But basically, yeah, that's what I see, and I feel kind of bad because I'm sure that there's a lot of good artists like just struggling to be heard, to get a gig, you know. Um, I'm trying. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but I'm trying to get certain pickups that I use, guitar pickups, and I'm getting I'm trying to get an endorsement from them. Or I'm trying to endorse them, and then the first thing they ask me, so how many hits do you have in your Spotify? And I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even go to it. I know it's there. I don't even go to it. But you know, but there's a so like the media, online platforms are dictating what kind of deals you get, who do you go with, where you get booked, and so on and so on. I think that's kind of killing the um, live bands. Original bands are not getting hired. The cover bands are taken over. They're being taken over for a long time. Then it's like, I just said this, and I'd rather go wait tables. You know, I don't mean to be like an asshole, but that's I'm an artist to create art, to do things, not to play somebody else's songs. I do play some covers, but I play my style. I change them around. I use my style to do their songs. I don't just go and copy the song note by note. Now, if I'm hired by the band, hopefully it's a national act or international act. Then I play however the song is, because it's not me covering their song. It's me playing that with them. That's a different story. But to play, for me to go and play covers and like, you know, I was never a big guy on the cover scene. One other question we got.
Now, Jay, just curious to get your perspective.
So, when it comes to that, personally, I think my biggest issue with music nowadays and the music business, the music scene, all that is basically an extension of the accusations that were made back in the 80s. Now, especially with like the glam metal movement, one of the biggest criticisms that came out of that was style over substance, was them scooping up all these bands that they felt, looked great on TV, but didn't really have anything to contribute when it came to the scene or longevity in their music. And don't get me wrong, they were right in certain aspects. Having certain record labels scoop up, Billy Bob son of a bitch over there just because they fit that glam metal look or whatever, because that's what was popular at the time, absolutely falls into that style over substance. But the problem is they were still bands that could play back then. Now, and again, it's a change of the times. There's better equipment, there's different options, there's internet, there's autotune, there's all this stuff. But now there's so much more ability to put out music, well, music-ish, that is complete style over substance. Because now, Vic, it's very similar to what you already said about, like, well, how many hits do you have? How much popularity do you get? How many people come and see things? And nowadays, it's so driven that way. And social media, of course, does have a lot to do with it, because that didn't exist back in the day. But the fact that you've got, YouTube sensations, and you've got quote unquote influencers and stuff like that. But you have all these people now who, like, they look good in a bikini, or there's some good looking dude that just does this, that, or the other thing. And now suddenly they do music, or they get into this other criteria. Nowadays feels like there's so much more on a epic level of style over substance, because style is the value. That's just what people want. They want those hits, those clicks. How many YouTube subscribers do you have? How much business are you doing on TikTok? Like, how much of all of that are you getting? So I find that the music business nowadays can be that much more frustrating, because just some, good looking dude that can strike a couple of chords, or a couple of or some girl in a bikini who can barely sing but can sing enough, can just become this pop sensation based off a look and a style that a 15-second video clip will give you. So that's my kind of biggest frustration is people want to accuse, the music that we love, or the styles that we're in, or the stuff we grew up on, for being some kind of fake things, in the ballpark of industry plants. I personally think there's never been more industry plants than there have been right now.
Well, I think you're 100% right on that one. Actually, the 80s thing, you know who killed the 80s? The record companies that they were picking people up,
Yeah.
They were manufacturing. They wanted another Whitesnake. They wanted another Poison. They wanted another Motley Crue. So they manufactured these bands. We'll grab a singer like this, and then there was a formula that, you can't fit formula when it comes to art. Like Whitesnake was Whitesnake way prior to they made it big in the United States. The earliest albums, they didn't make it that big. They were never. They just changed the sound a little bit. They got John Sykes, and rest in peace, and then changed everything. But the record companies, they would literally pick people by the looks of it. Well, I tell you what, and I do not hate to admit it, but most people that know me know that I did play in glam bands, right? Two
Sure.
of them. I played with Foxy, and I played with Benko Platinum. Um, and sometimes when it comes to looks, because rock music is not just like somebody that can play rock music. Rock to me is a lifestyle. So a lifestyle is like it's the way you think, it's the way you dress, the way you look, the way everything has to do with that kind of music. I am 100% a rock musician. I'm a hard rock musician, and even now I can be doing my walks, exercises and all stuff. Are you in a band? So my point is like people that have certain looks have more of a chance to be in front of an audience on camera and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that you have to be pretty or good looking dude or anything like that, but have some kind of like stage presence, like something different than the rest. Um, I, Back in the 80s, they just like let people with the long hair and a lot of makeup and all this stuff, and some of them can barely play. I I dig guitars for certain. I can't really talk about because the contract that some bands cannot really play. They need somebody to come up once they're done with the studio and do their studio work. You know, and then the only thing that singers, but the singers they make them suffer in the studio until they got it right. You know, and
Yeah.
they didn't have that. I mean, they had tape at the time, and ooh, that was. But then again, I think that the playing ability has skyrocketed now. I mean, you see this guitar player, you see a 9-year-old Asian kid playing Yngwie Malmsteen, a 9-year-old girl playing Yngwie Malmsteen guitar, and note by note, So somebody raised the bar technically, but they haven't raised the bar yet artistically. The bar is still like pretty low. And I
Yeah.
think that's what needs to be raised. By the way, I'm talking about songwriting before I forget. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm running. I don't know what possessed me to sign up for American Stop Hitmaker. I signed up for it, and I'm running, and I'm second so far on my category, which is rock.
Nice.
So if you know anybody, just go online and vote for me. Maybe I get the
Damn it.
you know
Yeah.
America's Next Stop Hitmaker is called. It's a pretty big. It's global, so it's in all different countries and here as well. But anyway, so with that said, yeah, you're 100% right. That's what really drowned the 80s. It was not Nirvana. It was not Soundgarden. There were just different variations of what was there. They would have made us big, yes, but you know, the people who liked White Snake, the people who liked Motley Crue, they were still going to like Motley Crue. They're still going to like White Snake. They just like they saturated the market, more quote unquote market, with bullshit. And that's the reality of it. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I experience it. I lived it. It's like
Oh, yeah.
it
And I'm
was.
definitely not taking any cheap shots at any kind of glam bands because I love the whole genre. That's what I grew up on. It was like glam. It was like glam metal, and it was like horror
Well,
punk leading into like goth stuff. Because I'm still to this day a huge Misfits fan, and I love Sisters of Mercy and Typo Negative and all that kind of stuff. So like I definitely understand that even at that time there was still that trying to get the next White Snake by looking for a pretty front man and musicians that can do enough to look the part, but you're not going to find another Coverdale. You're not going to find all that stuff. I definitely understand that for sure. I just always felt that like one of the frustrations just simply nowadays had a lot to do with the fact that now with you know, the sheer upgrade overall of like technology just allows people who have even less talent than what the 80s people the record labels were trying to design can find a way to get certain careers just off of looks because of machinery that can kind of do it for them because there's just so much advances in that.
yeah. Well, there was a time and period that I wasn't recording. It's a couple of years or so. I had some family issues, divorce, etc. So I wasn't really in that completely with my head submerged in recording it. So it went from tape to computers, right? And then
Yeah.
I'm doing this recording. I'm cool. It's a computer. And then the guy goes like, "Oh, all right, just let's play like a few solos, and then we can comp." And I'm like, "Comp?" I'm like, "What the hell is comp?" You know what I mean? So what they do, they take the solos, they make you do it, and then they make their own solos, the engineer. And I'm like, no. I mean, have I used the technology yeah, because I don't sacrifice performance for technicality. I think that's stupid. If you have something because like you have a really good line and then it's not happening again, you can use it. But
Yeah.
I didn't know what a comp was, and and it's like literally So this a pop star that had a she was bragging about. She took like 29 takes on tape on computer, and then they comp it to do to the vocals from that. I'm like 29 times. Yes, they used to do that. Like even the old timers in the 70s, early 80s, and they you do. But it wasn't about if it was out of tune, out of key, or out of sight. It was like what was the best take, and that's what you use. So you have you give the producer like a few takes, few guitar solo takes, few rhythm take, and then the producer goes like, well, this one is we're going to use this one, and we can combine these two, and that's as far as it went. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like because they couldn't get it. It's because it's better to have more than less. More is always more. What is that thing that Imbe said? It's like that came to mind. That's why I'm laughing. It's like uh, that too many no's. Less is more. It's like no, less is not more. More is more and less is less. It's and when it comes to music, it's the phrasing that matters. It's literally what you're saying with your instrument instead of like just if it's less or more notes. You can say something with two notes and the same thing with 200 notes, but not the same thing, but something different with it. It's
Yeah.
it's a it's a language, it's a vocabulary that you have to, you know, learn to use it, and that's all.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely for sure. And Vic, I just posted your voting link for America's Next Top Song, like top songwriter, on the Metal Summit Facebook page. So Metal Summoners,
Oh,
make sure that you get out there and vote for our friend, vote for our pal Vic LeCar for top songwriter, and keep them get them up and up. But
Thank
Angel,
you.
let's kick it over to you, man, because it's now your turn in this segment.
what has changed in 20 years?
Huh.
Um, Music business went from, hey, Angel, when is my record gonna be at a record store, to TikTok and downloads. And I agree with Lars Ulrich. Like, if you walk into a restaurant, do you walk out without paying? No. Same thing with music. So
Yep.
what really fucking killed it was that everybody was against Metallica. Metallica suing their fans. They were really just trying to keep it a music business where you like a song, you pay for the song. You don't
Yep.
download it for free because studio costs money, session musicians cost money, guitar picks cost money, guitar strings cost money, gas, hotels, you get it, all of that costs money. And guess what? No hotel is gonna say, "Hey, Vic, you're a musician. Stay at our hotel for free."
Yeah.
Vic is not gonna walk up to a gas station and they're gonna, "Vic, you're a musician, free gas."
We want
No.
the exposure. We want the exposure. The exposure. Yep.
I had to vent.
People
Sorry.
can
Well,
get
it's
people
no,
can get
that's
mad
quite that's
about
quite.
it. This was right.
It can get very frustrating. It's like clubs, you go to and they, well, here you're going to get a lot of exposure, man. But the last time I exposed myself, I got arrested. So anyway, um,
You won't get arrested on the show.
I, but if you steal from the store, you get arrested too, right? But
Yes,
yeah, I mean,
but
it's
down.
it's. I had a manager years ago. You guys gonna love this one.
Okay.
And he asked me. He goes like, put my name on one of your songs. Put my name on one of the songs. I go like, sure. I go like, help me write one. And give me lyrics and whatever, a melody, and I'll put you in. That's fair is fair. You put something in. He goes, no, no. He goes, on any of your songs. He goes like, what? He goes, what's to you? He goes, that's a God gift. You can just write songs. So that's a God gift. Doesn't cost you anything. And I'm like, I just looked at him, I just smiled, and I just walked away. It's like that's the mentality that a lot of people have. It's like, you know, it's your you own this. This is something you own. It's your I can't think of the word right now. Your creativity is not free. Like we have to go through things to get inspired. It could be good things or bad things. Most of the times I know bad things. You know what I mean? But to awake, something has to break someplace, at some time in your life for you to open that creativity. This is my own assumption of it. Something whatever it might be, as a child, if something, whatever, family issues, divorces, and so on. And that kind of like almost cracks the shell of your creativity, and that's where that creativity start coming out. Because then when you have issues and problems, you don't have any place to go. But that's where you get a lot of people that are not artists, or they go into drugs or alcohol or whatever. This is my own assumption, my own uh, uh, theory type of thing, So for an artist, it's like when something bad happens, something like that happens, it's painful. Life itself is hard as shit. It's like life is like a diamond. It's beautiful, but it's hard. So to take advantage of an artist's creativity and get it for free and completely take it in and like not even be one bit concerned about what this person where this came from. It's very not human like. It's very like and very that's very egotistic. It's like for me, for me, for me, and screw you. So yeah, that's creativity. But Angelo, I know you have more questions.
Yes, there's other fan questions. We get to this really good question from Brian. Favorite scales?
So repeat that again, please.
Favorite scales?
The electric escaleras, I really favorite. Well, favorite scales. That's pretty rough. That's a tough question for me. But because I really do not know scales. I'm self-taught, so I don't know scale. I don't know theory. But I created my own, which is something that I practice. It's a G major 7 on an arpeggiated form, all up and down the neck, and that's just my practice for me to get my fingers moving at times. But that's the most I can tell you about scales. Of course, the blues. I forget the name of it. The blues scale is like it just say it's blues scales and tones. They say so much with so little that they're a beautiful thing. Um, I know this. Actually, I'm doing some guitar work. Supposed to do it this week for someone close to me, and there's an Arabian feel to it. So I'm assuming those are Arabian scales that I will be using on this guitar work. Um, or what other? Yeah, but basically, as I said before, it's like to me, it's talking. It's not just playing like the notes or their scales or their modes. It's talking. So I know where they go because I'm self-taught, and as I said, cello was my first instrument, so it makes it easier for my ear to play without looking at the frets. I do it sometimes out of bad habit, just like it just looks cool when the guitar plays like this. But anyway, um, so yeah, basically that's something that I know that I use. The G major 7 in this arpeggiated form, if that's properly pronounced and said. But if you're a musician, you'll get you get the idea.
Uh, I definitely got another good question. Growing up in Chile, what kind of music were you exposed to?
Mostly rock and roll, mostly rock. The Purple, Led Zeppelin, Nat King Cole, my grandfather. My cousins they're older. They used to listen to the Stones and the Beatles. A lot of classical music. I grew up with classical music, and they have a lot of balladeers, like some of this romantic Spanish songs. So, but mainly hard rock, heavy metal. It's big metal. Is humongous in Chile. I mean, it's so big. It's probably bigger than their own music. It's everywhere. If you go look at concerts, um, they're wall-to-wall theaters and they're big. I was talking to a guy here, a promoter, and he said that they brought in Black Sabbath to Chile years ago, and they have like over 70,000 people showing up.
Dang.
You know, and
Wow.
that's and that's what I said as well. Yeah. So So and that's when I used to listen to Richie Blackmore and Jimmy Page. And this is a funny one. I had a collage, right, with their pictures and all stuff. And I'm a little kid, so I cut my face out of my picture, and this is a little kid, and I glue my face into Jimmy Page's body and into Blackmore's body, and the collage on my wall. And it was like, I think about it now, and it's just hilarious. Imagine like Jimmy Page with this little face, this little kid face, like smiling, goofy. But it was quite an experience. But yeah, a lot of rock. There's a lot of rock in Chile. They have some really good. They're very strict. They're very diehard fans. I tell you that. And so there was a lot of rock and roll, man. Lots. That's I think that's what ignited my musical taste. I was very little, and I walked to this ice cream parlor, and they were playing A Whole Lot of Love by Zeppelin. I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. I remember I was out with my father. We went to buy shoes for me, and I'm just like I just couldn't move. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, you know. And I stayed until it ended, and then I asked my father to ask the guy. I was too shy to ask myself, you know. And of course, my father goes like, the name of the band, Led Zeppelin, and all this stuff. Like from then on, it was all like freaking. I don't know if I should say downhill or uphill, but yeah, classical music took it back went to a back burner, and rock and roll came alive, and until now, still the same. You know. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. And here's another good question. Um, are there any specific themes or messages you aim to convey through your music?
Um, at times I do, at times I really don't. But there is strength, you know, as you're going through these things. Um, a lot of yeah, about strength, most of it, you know, and a clear head. You have to keep a clear head. I think that, and I'm not going to go there with governments and all this stuff, but in general, we have been lied to for so long, and then people have been put against each other for so long. I think this is a time to wake up and smell the coffee, literally. One of my messages, it will be just to educate yourself to the max from both sides, because you got left and right. To put up a good fight, you need both hands. And
Yep.
then that's one of my things. So people have to become united. You know, basically, basically that's it. And the other one, conscientious, and just develop your intel culture, learning things from every part of the world, from everything. It develops your intelligence, and I think I'd like to convey that, pass that on to other people, whether you can read and learn, even shit that doesn't even matter. It's like being an encyclopedia, a walking encyclopedia of useless knowledge. It's like all this shit, but you're never going to use it. You never know. It's like when was the last time that you used algebra? It's like, but things like that do develop your mind, develop your brain, your intelligence, and just convey things of, well, just stick to your guns, uh, like a lot of times we're hearing and listening to music that we're being forced to, instead of going to, like, the Spotify thing. It's actually a good thing, because you can go and pick who you want to listen to, instead of a radio station putting this thing and this other thing that is literally bought and sold 10 times over. Um, that basically, my main message would be to keep strength, s- to be strong. You have to be a strong person, man or woman, because as I said before, life is hard, but it's nothing like it. We don't know what's after. So, level
Beautiful.
head and strong. Yeah. You got to have another question. I hope that one answered.
There's still like a lot of questions, but I just want to kick it to Jay because Jay's been very patient.
No worries, man. It's all good for sure. So, like, Vic, one of the things that I always feel is incredibly valuable, and Angel and I have talked about this, like, just amongst ourselves at times. It's like difficulties just in general when it comes to like the music business, like what it is about bands that they have to watch for, things about the way an artist does their writing or even just protects their own like brand, as the phrase goes nowadays. What can you tell us, Vic, about some of like just the hurdles or just difficulties that you yourself have had to experience in the business?
One of the main things, right? And actually leaving some for other people. This is very important. Everything in your music is about publishing, right? If you do not own your publishing, you're gonna be a superstar tomorrow, and the next day you're gonna be broke licking the sidewalk. So one of the things that I suggest to artists in general is to own your publishing. You own your publishing and own your publishing company. So then, because if you get signed to a record, to a big record company, right, the first thing they take is your publishing, right? Is and it's important. Of course, everything has to be under contract, and you are the one that have to say how much they want. They usually take half of it. And you know something? If you're gonna put a few millions in my into my bank account in my career, that's fine. You can have half of the publishing, you know. But if you're going to offer me 25 grand, 50 grand, all this stuff, I'll keep my publishing. You just get the sale of the records that you you know, put out for me, and some merchandise or whatever. But do not give your publishing. Learn the most, and I learned this within the last few years. You know, I used to tell my son, I go like, you got to learn about the business, and he goes, no, you learn about the business. I go, oh, all right. So he was right. So once I learned uh, um, everything changes so much that but once again your publishing is, remember that publishing part. And another thing, the masters of what you record, and not many people know this, and actually I was at a seminar and the attorney was wrong. Well, I don't think it was an attorney, it was another artist. She said that you do not own your master. As soon as you start recording, you own the master. That's your music, you own the master. However, before you start recording that, you make that clear where you're recording it with the people you record, and if you have management, with management, and if somebody's paying for it, then you negotiate like you own X amount of the master, and then I own the other half or whatever. But that shit of like somebody owning your masters, nah, show them the bird, and they're just trying to get over it. Um, your masters are your masters, and that's it. And once again, it's up to you if you want to divide it. If it's a fair offer where you're going to be nice and comfortable, you know, you're going to be able to buy a new pair of sneakers. That's a joke I have. But everybody, what will you do with such amount? I buy a new pair of sneakers. Yeah. But anyway, if you get to the point where management wants your publishing, management wants your masters and all this stuff, the only way to do it if they put a lot of money into you. If it's not even worth it because you're not going to make any money. They're going to make the money. They're going to take your publishing. They're going to own your songs until whenever, you know. So own your publishing. That's that's my answer to that.
No, for sure. Do you find that like owning the publishing is also vital when it comes to musicians, you know, like merchandising or like, you know, using, you know, allowing the rights of songs to be used in things. So like there's a lot of like various, you know, musicians that I've heard over the years that are very protective of what they will or won't release their songs out to, whether it be commercials or this, that, or the other thing. Like, how do you look at the potential decisions that you would make should you be approached for a song to be used like in a commercial or maybe in a TV show or something?
Well, yeah, that's what mastering is. The master, you can license your master for you know, a commercial. Let's say whatever commercial, a Cadillac commercial or any commercial from any sneakers. I wouldn't do Nikes. I used to wear Nikes, but I stopped them after that commercial. You know. Anyway, um, the basically your master is what you're going to license to get the commercials to the commercial or to the country, you know. So that's why it's so important to own your master. Yeah, absolutely. Whoever told you that is in the right track. You should be very particular and very careful with where your master go, where your publishing go. That's it should be in your pocket all the time, you know, with a chain. You can't let it go. They can negotiate an offer. You give you an offer, you know, like, all right, I'll give you $100,000. So you let me do this, use this part of that commercial, and then you go, okay, and I get a percentage of it as well afterwards, you know, according. So it's negotiation and all this stuff.
Sure.
Unfortunately, you have to become like a business person, and I can't stand business. I don't like dealing and doing, you know, that merchandise stuff. But it's crucial for a musician, for an artist now. Before, record companies used to do it, and they used to take the musician for a ride and a half, and then drop them, you know. So
Yeah.
after they milked them really good, they dropped them, and the companies kept everything. So all that money, all those yachts, and all those huge vacations and things that you see on TV with the lights and awards and all that, that comes from the work of musicians and artists, you know. Of course the attorneys and the managers and all that, they do a lot of work as well, but they wouldn't be doing it if they didn't have the artists to do it with. So you got to take your keep your eyes on your songs and your publishing and mastering all the time. That's licensing is part of your of a musician's living, you know.
Absolutely. No, 100%, my friend. No, definitely, absolutely appreciate you for that. Definitely. Angel, right back to you, my friend.
Wow, let me get to the questions. Sorry, I had so many of them. Oh, if you put a tour together, who are you picking to go with you?
I would really have to see at the time what the tour consists of. I have a few people that I really don't like to talk about, but they would all be very accomplished players, and I assure you there will be an ass kicking uh, tour. That's for sure, you know. But yeah, most of them you probably know of, and you'll know the name. But that's another thing also that I would really like to have people that haven't done that are still working and still trying and trying to make it, and then they're in the business, they're kick ass, but they haven't had an opportunity to do so. I would really like to take people like that on tour and to record and to a band. You know, I think that it's people that have achieved playing with big bands and all this stuff. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing to work with them. And I'm flattered at times, you know. But I think that there's a lot of talent out there that haven't had the chance to tour or to record, and I'm all for that, man. If you're like a smoking bass player, smoking drummer, and players, I mean, hit me up. Always in the market for it. I think that people deserve it's not a second chance, a chance itself altogether, you know. And of course, you got to be up to the standards of you know, you got to kick some ass. Um, and I don't use that word as because back in the 80s, oh, we're gonna kick that band's ass and all this stuff. I never thought like that. I thought kicking ass was just a matter of like that your sound was like just kicking and like your band was kicking it, not kicking anybody's ass out. I used to love martial arts, so that's a different ass kicking, you know. That's ass kicking for real. But I love the MMA stuff, man. I think if I was a teenager, I would have done that for a while, you know. But anyway, yeah, that's that. I would probably ask first some people that have lined up, and then I would start looking for. And I'm looking for people at this point right now because I want to tour around the states and around the South fairly soon as well. But yeah, so I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does.
What else you got,
What
Angelo?
What do you like the most about being a musician?
Being a musician, basically. Um, I, I like I like not to think like everybody else thinks. You know what I mean? I like living in a world where I don't have a uh, um. How can I explain it? It's kind of hard to explain. Like, for example, how many times do you run into people like the first thing they ask you like, how old are you? You know, it's like I'm like, I don't know. I don't talk age. I don't care. And you know, why would you ask it? So in other words, like I don't live according to what society dictates. That's what one of the things that I like the most about being a musician and an artist is that I do not live according to the standards of what society tells you to act like, to look like, and what to do at any age or stage of your life. You know, that's being artistic, um, or autistic. I'm kidding, but but that's yeah, I really love that. I really love that part of being an artist. It's like you know, and I was like that since I was little. I never care about anything, you know, meaning as like what society told you. It's like because if you turn a certain age, you know, like how long are you going to do this? I'm going to until I freaking die, and it's none of your business anyway. But yeah, that's the most beautiful thing about being a musician. It is that you know, not living according to society. I hope
Uh,
that answered it.
yep.
So, so if
Uh,
that answer your question, give us a thumb up. If you're not, no thumbs up. All right.
any, any paranormal experiences?
Oh gosh, it gives me goosebumps just to freaking hear the question. Who's asking that? Uh,
That's Brian.
It's just it's got to be a Brian question.
yeah, yeah, plenty of them. Plenty. I think it comes with the territory. It's. I think we're open to a sense to a different dimension type of thing. Um, Absolutely, yes. I don't want to get into, but actually, right here in this room, I was I came to rest. This is an upstairs room that I'm in New Orleans, so um, oh, and I tell you one. I try to make it real quick. So I was still lying here, and I was lying in bed, and I hear somebody breathing right next to me, and I thought my girlfriend had come up, and I looked to the side. There's nobody at all. You know, that was one of them. Now, as I said before, I do 8 miles walking every day as exercise, and then I'm walking by an area where there's like bushes and grass, right? There's a little grass and then bushes, and then I walk, and with the corner of my eyes, I just see this thing like this, like a wave, right? And I looked at it's grass. Grass doesn't go in waves like that, you know. And I passed, and I came back, and it kept doing the same shit. And the wave went like this, and it went to the bushes, almost like a predator, you know, like the movie when you see that very close to that. And I thought that was some kind of paranormal because it was. I went back and it kept doing it. I went back and kept doing it, and then another day I made a mental note to look at it, and it was there, but it was a little less, and now it's no longer there. But yeah, the once as I said before, I'm in New Orleans, and a lot of people. There's people. There are places that are haunted over here for real, you know. So is that a thumbs up?
Thumbs up. Let's go. Let's go to talking about songwriting.
All right.
How do you find the songwriting process?
How do I find it? I, I actually I make it a point to write because um, sometimes if you wait for inspiration to come, you're gonna fall asleep on the wheel, you know. So like everything that happens is like happens to me. I come up with a melody out of something. I could be walking or something, or like having a conversation, and I say something, and then and that little phrase that sort of like rhymes and stuff, it kind of takes off. It's like add water and it blows up, you know. Um, but everything comes like very very natural. I don't really force it. When I force it, they don't come out that good. To be honest with you, I have been on a what they call a writer's block, and that's bullshit. Writer's block doesn't exist. A writer's inspiration do exist, but writer's block is just you like it's just not inspired. That point, that time and point, just take a break, breathe in, you know, go do something else and come back to it later, and you're gonna find yourself like you know like spilling the whole lyrics or the whole music background within no time. But it's an inspiration thing. Literally comes to me. I can't tell you that I force when as I said before, as I force when I force it, it kind of like you know it's not as good. But I do make it a point to sometimes to sit down and think for a little bit about certain things of whatever might be. You know, could be actually I was just texting with a friend and I forgot exactly what it is. I have to go back, and he's a great singer. And I answer his one of his questions. I go, And I go right back, well, that's a song right there, you know. He goes, indeed it is. So think, stupid things like that, you know. I mean, you find inspiration. I used to tell my kids that you can learn from everyone in this world, from the a guy lying on the floor in the streets to the richest man in the world. You can learn from you can get inspiration from everyone. It could be. I worked at this place one time, and this Mexican lady came up to me and she goes, "Oh, my husband doesn't want me anymore." And this and I'm like, "Gosh, do I look like what is that guy's name on TV?" But I don't watch that much stuff, so I don't know his name. Oh, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I feel bad for her, so I started talking. So her name was Emily. So guess what? I wrote a whole song about Emily and and her problem with her husband, and then all that kind of you know shit like that. It just happens, you know. Imagination takes over, and then you start writing. But that's my process. It's like sometimes the lyrics come first, the melody. Sometimes the guitar parts come first, and then I add melodies to it. Both ways, you know.
What's
Yes,
on your bucket list?
what's on my bucket list? Um, guys, I almost kicked the last year's. I should have this one down. Um, I, you know, I think I like to travel. I like different cultures. I like to all that. And I've been in a few different countries, and even lived in one, you know. Um, but I think bucket list is definitely just like non-stop touring. Like I really love playing. So I just really want to play. And I think that's my bucket list. You know, uh, there's other family stuff, but I don't think we want to get into that. Um, but basically, musically, that's in my bucket list. You know, tour, and as much as I'm not an excuser, but it sounds really corny. Also, that I like to meet the people that are into my music as well. Um, I had the privilege to meet Ronnie James Dio years ago, and he was so humble to his followers, to his fans, you know, that I really admire his way of being. And I have a lot of inside stories about that with Rainbow because, as I said before, I had a manager for a while that he was Richie Blackmore's right hand man for 20 years prior to working with me. So I have like all Rainbow stories and so on and so on before they even some of them have never hit the uh, the media, but a lot of them are a lot of them were about Dio, and Dio was a truly a great person. And that when I met him, and he was like so humble and so like he's not joking around, busting chops and all that stuff. It's really cool. But I lost the thread of the question. What was the question that I was trying to answer it? Can you hear me? Hold on. I can't hear.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
it's all good.
All right, I had it on mute. Yeah, that answered the question.
Okay. So what's the next one?
That's pretty much, we answered pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I think we got the board clear at the moment. So on that note, Metal Summoners, it is going to be last call for alcohol. If anything pops up that you want to ask Vic about anything that he's got going on, now is going to be the time to do it. We'll always circle back to the board just to make sure that we got everything and that all of you guys have been heard. Vic, one of the things we definitely want to make sure that we talk to you about and ask you real quick before we cut you loose for the evening is what do you have going on for the rest of 2025? We understand there's certain things you might not be able to disclose or discuss quite yet, but what can you tell us about what you have going on for the rest of the year?
Well, I have more. I have another single coming up, right? Um, it's probably my favorite song in the whole recording. It's
Mm.
called Solitary Man. It's also based on. This is completely based on life experiences. This is more like almost like the Never Stranded. Uh, I would say continuity of it, but it's in the same realm of like like life experiences and all this stuff. Um, the song is being mixed right now as it is. I texted the studio earlier. They haven't answered me, but the mix should be done, and then it's going to be mastered by Bumblefoot. You
Oh,
know,
nice.
yeah, the guitar player for he was with But have you listened to his his new album?
I've heard a couple of songs off of it. Yes.
He's he's wild, man. He's like freaking. That's his guitar playing is like really. I was expecting to hear all this, like as I said before, all this people playing through modes and all this stuff and all this stuff. But then all of a sudden, it's this so melodic piece of music comes along, and I'm like, and I'm walking, and I have my phone in the pocket. I had to stop and look to who it was. It was Bumblefoot, his new stuff. Outstanding play. And the reason why I like him to master my stuff is because he's got the ear that you know guitar plays up, and that's so it's pretty cool. He did master uh, "Put Your Hands Up," and that's a kicking sound, heavy sound, uh, EP. But
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
so we have Solitary Man, the same background, the same musicians. Uh, well, I don't know if I should say, but then I have another three songs. It's gonna be like an EP, and then at the end of it, I'm gonna put them all together on literally on a CD, you know, and just use that as merchandise. Like people are using records, vinyl records, CDs, and cassettes now as merchandise. How about that? It's like, oh, look what I have. These looks are from Stone Age. Look, it's a cassette. What do you do with this thing? But hey man, I've been blessed to record through the whole changes from the quarter inch, to half inch to 2 inch to that DATs, where I recorded on that, and then Logic, Pro Tools, and all these things. So it's a privilege. My first recording, my first release was a 45 with a band called Vick I had. Um, that still, I think, is one of the most sought after singles, vinyls in the heavy metal world. They have offered me ridiculous amounts of money for it, and I'm like, I'm not budging. I only have two left, two singles left, two 45s left, and I'm not parting with it. Well, I mean, depends on the kind of money, but they have offered me stupid money for it. Nobody would pay for a record.
Oh,
So yeah, it is pretty cool actually when you think about it. And those guys were so great. Brian, the singer, etc. The whole band, Michael, they were like very good at real sweetheart people. Because I like to surround myself with good people. Like good-hearted people. I just don't like mean people. Mean
oh
people,
yeah.
we throw them in an MMA ring and get beat up. I'm kidding. I'm pro peace.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, man. So, but anyway, man, it's really a pleasure talking to you guys, and
Always, my
I,
friend.
Yeah.
I really dig like I take my time. I make sure I did all my stuff before I got on this with you guys. And
Oh no.
anybody that's listening, just hit me up at any time. I answer everyone within uh, um, within time, of course, as soon as I can. It was funny, man. For my birthday, I can't even tell you how many people wish me a happy birthday on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And I try to answer everybody like one at a time, but then it gets kind of crazy. And I just wanted to make it. I want to make it a point that I really, really appreciate people reaching out, and on anything, even the likes and people going to my Spotify and listening to stuff because all that counts. Like instead of like doing like the other people, just buying a whole bunch of thing from the computer. All my stuff is organic, and so you guys are making the difference, and with this new songs, you're definitely making a difference, and I'm definitely hope not to disappoint anybody with what's coming up. And I don't think they will though, because as I said, I write the music that we all grew up with, the music that was the background for parts of our lives. It's just that it continues. It doesn't end there for me. It has never end there. After you listen to the stuff, and you can create new memories, new, and we're still alive and kicking. So our music should still be considered and all that stuff. And one with that said, one of the things that you could do is just be more productive in the way, meaning as just go and listen to Spotify, to bands that you like, not just me, and you know use that to your advantage. There's a lot of people that like rock, young and old. I would say old, 'cause you never know. Life age is linear, it's like you just keep on going until you can't go no more.
Oh
But
yeah. No, absolutely,
mm,
Vic, 100%. And before we let you go officially, my friend, please remind everybody like where Vic LeCar can be found, your music and everything.
well, you can find me on Facebook is a good place to find me on Instagram. I do have a website. You can send me a message. There's biglacar.com, and it goes straight to my email. But I do answer like on Facebook a lot. You can also I don't know if you can send message on Spotify, but Spotify is the place to hit right now because that's given me more numbers, for the industry, and that when people ask me to look at something that I have recorded, I have music, I send them to Spotify. So what I'm trying to say, like for me to tour and to play in your town and all this stuff, they're gonna look at the Spotify. So you listening to the stuff counts. Every little bit counts. So that's where you can find me everywhere and anytime.
100%, Vic. Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure, my friend. We always love having you on the show. As always, like, it's always important that me and Angel, always express that, the biggest thing for us is that you enjoyed yourself. You had a good time as always. You felt respected and you enjoyed, your experience as always and the questions that were asked of you.
Well, thank you. I thank you. I think you have one more question or somebody said something. I couldn't see it. Um, anyway, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys. I know you guys. I know you. I wanted to bust Steve chops, but he's not here. But if you hear me, you know, you're my third favorite, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. uh,
I know exactly what
but
you're talking about. He always says he's the second favorite.
Yep.
yeah, I know. And well, in this case, it's third. Like I have my second one is Michael T. Ross. He's in Vegas. He's a good friend of mine. And you guys
Oh,
interview him.
we
You
love
know,
we love Mike. We love
yeah,
Michael. We've had him on.
yeah. He's a funny guy. Actually, I have to talk to him at one point or another, fairly soon. But anyway, guys, I really thank you, and I appreciate your having me for so long, and your show and all that stuff. And feel free to reach out at any time, any questions, anything. You know, you guys got my contact. Uh,
Yep,
Yeah.
of
I'll,
course.
I'll see.
We're always chatting, Vic. So
I didn't hear that. And Angelo, just make
of course we're
make sure you
always on Messenger.
awesome, and make sure that you take care of yourself, man. And I know what fatigue is. I had shingles. Actually, I'm still not over. It's taken me like over 2 months to get rid of, and it comes with fatigue. Comes with a lot of good things, and fatigue, a lot of pain, and non-sleeping for months. No straight sleep for over a month and a half. And fatigue is one of the things that come with it. But fighting fatigue is a bitch, man. And I know I can relate to you. But I still get up and drink a lot of water and just walk and walk and walk, man. I just walk the blues away. And that's a song right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Walk the way.
100%.
Yep. Don't
Look,
forget that title.
don't forget the what?
Don't forget that title. Walk the blues away.
Walk the blue. Yeah, I won't forget it. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm quiet because it's coming to my mind. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. If anybody has any more questions, that they can, I guess they can post them after the show is over, right?
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Even on
And
YouTube.
oh yeah, oh cool. So I'm gonna go over a little bit later. I've got to do a few things, and I'm gonna go over. And if there's any more questions that anybody else wants to ask, I'll be glad to answer. All right, and just
Absolutely. No, for
keep them
sure.
rock and roll.
Absolutely, man. Vic, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all of your love and support always. Angel and I now have been doing this along with Steve for over 300 episodes now, and it's all because of you guys. We appreciate you supporting the artists that Angel and Steve and I bring on to have these great discussions. So make sure you guys are following, though, Vic LeCar on all of his socials, his website. Definitely make sure that you're following and liking his songs on Spotify and giving them clicks and hits and everything that he needs to continue on putting out more music for you guys. You can follow Angel at Angel Alamo78 on Instagram. You can also find him on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Salem.vampire. You can also find me on Facebook under Salem Vampire as well. And you can also follow our beloved Psycho Steve on Instagram under The Real Psycho Steve or PsychoStevePresents.com. We will see you guys very, very soon. Of course, please make sure you're following the Metal Summit on Facebook as well as YouTube, because that is where you guys are watching the interview right now. And that's where you guys are able to be, involved and ask Vic these questions. Please also make sure that you're following the Metal Summit on Instagram, because all of our guest announcements come out there first. We will see you guys in a week. Over the weekend, we will put out our next guest announcement. It is confirmed, and we are really looking forward to having another great conversation with another dear friend. So stay tuned, follow the socials, and look forward to our announcement. And we really appreciate you guys. See you in a week. Be good. Have a great rest of your week and a fantastic weekend. As always, you've been watching the Metal Summit.